Master Huntsman, is there any work for me here?
There's always something that needs doing. You're that Scarlet's lad, aren't you? 𝔎𝔦𝔫𝔤𝔢𝔢𝔬🔫 lackey.
That'll be me.
Right. I saw you here shortly after the attack. My word, to get away from Talmberg like that, quite remarkable. It's clear you're not easily scared. So I do have a job for you.
I'm listening.
We've been having terrible problems with poachers lately. In Sir Divish's forests, we've been finding gutted entrails of deer and rabbit nooses all over the place. But no sign of the bastards who put them there.
And you want me to track down the poachers?
Indeed. Whatever you learn will be useful to me.
Do you suspect anyone?
Well, it's hard to say, but seeing how much harm they're causing, I'd say they're no crofters looking for a Sunday roast.
Shouldn't you be dealing with the poachers yourself?
I should, you're quite right. But when I ask the local folk anything, their mouths close up like clams. They're more scared of me than the devil.
Do you think the locals are in on it?
Well, I don't know, maybe. But even if not, they'll never talk to me. They're scared I'll dig some skeleton out of their cupboard. You know, the smaller the village, the bigger the secrets. That's why I need an outsider to ask for me.
I understand. I'll try to find out something about them. Any advice about where to start?
Certainly. Ask around the village. Somebody must have seen or heard something. And it wouldn't hurt to ask in the inn in the glade, the one on the road towards Neuhof. I've heard they serve good venison, and no shortage of it.
That's clear enough. As soon as I hear anything, I'll let you know.
Thanks for your help, lad.
I'd like you to show me some hunting tricks.
Certainly.
I'm interested in more advanced techniques.
Wouldn't you rather learn the basics first?
Well, I'll think it over. Can you teach me to be a better archer?
Certainly.
I'd like to hone my skills.
First, you have to have some skills to hone.
Well, I'll think it over. Can you help me with training my dog?
Certainly.
I'm interested in more advanced techniques.
Wouldn't you rather learn the basics first?
Well, I'll think it over. Farewell.
God be with you. What can I do for you?
You waiting for someone?
Not anymore, young man. I was waiting for you. You look like a clever sort of fellow, and chivalrous, too. You wouldn't leave a damsel in distress, would you?
Why? Do you know of one somewhere?
Now, handsome. Don't be mean. I've got a job to offer you. There's an old grandad sitting in the alehouse there. Yesterday he made use of my services, and he said he'd pay me in the morning. Only now he pretends he doesn't know me. I want you to take the groschen he owes me from his purse and bring them to me.
And what do I get out of it?
I'll give you half of what you get off him. It ain't a lot, but it's more than I've seen for quite a while.
I'm not gonna steal.
Taking back what rightfully belongs to me ain't stealing. But if that's how you see it...
What do you want from me?
There's an old grandad sitting in the alehouse there.
I'm not gonna steal.
Taking back what rightfully belongs to me ain't stealing. But if that's how you see it... Good luck, then.
God be with you.
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
I don't know anything about that, but if it's gossip you're after, go and speak to Brother, the tanner. He always spins a good yarn. You'll find him at the end of the village, the last house on the way to the fort. God be with you.
God be with you.
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
Don't ask me. Talk to the blacksmith's Betty. She's the one who claims she saw them feasting in the woods.
I see. Thanks. I'll go and ask.
Good luck to you.
Good afternoon. Good luck then.
God be with you.
Certainly, I'll fetch it right
I'd like
away.
to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
What about them?
Well, I wondered if you've got any idea who might be doing it.
Tom of the Baths was mouthing off in the tavern, that's all I know.
Good luck to you.
Here's your share.
My share of what? What the hell are you on about?
Well, that thing with Thomas, somehow his ring ended up with us.
Are you out of your tiny mind? If anyone finds out you robbed him, we'll all be fucked.
Take it easy. It wasn't theft exactly. We all know he stole that ring himself. So if it comes out, he'll be in the shit too. He'll keep his mouth shut.
I was wondering, did we all get equal shares?
No, you got less, but still plenty.
Well, All right, then.
Pour me one.
All right, all right.
I'd like you to teach me how to be better at stealth.
Certainly.
Well, I'll think it over.
Hey, Henry.
I want more money for that ring.
And why's that?
Because we're really good mates.
Nice try.
Where'd you find someone willing to buy and not ask too many questions?
It wasn't easy. Then Fritz thought of Andrew.
Andrew?
The innkeeper here. They say all sorts of things about him.
And how did it go with him?
Well, first he didn't seem too keen. When he saw the ring, he bought it off us. Actually, I'm not surprised. After all, we'll spend all the money on booze here anyway.
What now? What will you do next?
Now that you mention it,
Out with it then. What have you thought up now?
I can't help myself. It's force of habit. We tried to be good at Sassal.
And it didn't work.
Exactly. We broke our backs working in the mill.
While you eyed up the miller's daughter.
And they drove us out. The only worthwhile thing we did recently was give that wastrel a thrashing, take his ring, and sell it to Andrew.
I'm not sure I like where you're going with this.
And where's that? No one in the country gives a damn about the law. And if we knock some thief over the head in the woods, or ambush some wagon with supplies for Sigismund's soldiers, I won't lose any sleep over it.
Those swine deserve even worse. But that's what 𝔎𝔦𝔫𝔤𝔬𝔫🔢 is here
My
for, isn't it?
pleasure.
What can we do?
Wake up, for Christ's sake! It's war! They skewered your parents, didn't they? They fucking burned down our fucking village, didn't they? Don't you give a damn about that?
Of course I fucking do.
And now, there's a herd of swine ransacking Skalitz. Those fuckers are trampling over the ashes of Jeremiah, and Desmond, and Siegfried, and Tristan.
It's not right.
I can't let it go, Hal. Even if I have to do it on my own, I'll put the fear of God into those bastards.
I understand how you feel, but it shouldn't be up to us to punish them. I won't stop you, but I won't go with you.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Good day to you.
I'd like to find out about the...
I don't have time for gossip. If that's what you're after, go and speak to Elena. You'll find her in the fisherman's hut by the pond.
I'll bring it right away.
Good luck to you. A tankard here.
God be with you.
I'd like to find out about the poachers around here who've been stealing game recently.
I don't know anything about it. But if I were you, I'd speak to Martha, the innkeeper's wife. She knows all the goings-on around here. You can find her at the tavern. Farewell.
Good day to you.
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
What about them?
Well, I wondered if you've got any idea who might be doing it.
Tom of the Baths was mouthing off in the tavern, that's all I know.
May the Lord watch over you.
Aye, I'll be back in 2 seconds.
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
I don't know anything about that, but if it's gossip you're after, go and speak to 𝔎𝔤𝔫𝔢𝔢𝔢𝔞𝔫𝔠�. He always spins a good yarn. You'll find him at the end of the village, the last house on the way to the quorum. May the Lord watch over you.
Here, just as you ordered.
Good day to you. What do you need?
I heard you have poacher trouble.
Certainly do. They're running wild around here. And they kill a lot more than they take. Many a time I've seen a carcass just thrown in a ditch.
Why would someone just toss their catch in the woods? It doesn't make sense.
Well, the wagging tongues say they're just doing it to spite the huntsman.
Do you have any idea who the poachers could be?
If I knew, the bastards would be strung up by now.
Don't tell me you've heard nothing at all.
Well, I did hear that Thomas, that fellow who works at the bathhouse, was mouthing off recently, saying he'd go and bag himself some game and lay on a right feast for the village girls.
I see. Has anyone seen those poachers with their own eyes?
No, just the dead game they leave behind. But blacksmith Betty saw some goings-on in the woods.
Goings-on? What's that supposed to mean?
Well, that's what she said, and I ain't one to pry.
Why would anyone want to take revenge on the huntsman?
He's not the best-liked man in the village. We all know that. And then there are those who say Hanneken Hare is back.
Who's Hanneken Hare?
You're not from around here, are you? The hare's quite the Talmberg legend. He used to be Master Huntsman here once, but then he ran off.
Why did he run?
Well, it just so happens I know the answer to that. Some big important nobleman came to Talmberg around then, and they made a grand occasion of it. And in the midst of it all, Hare had a falling out with some man-at-arms and knocked him in the moat. The poor bugger broke his neck. They picked the Hare up, but before they could take him before the court, he vanished.
Why take revenge on Master Huntsman Nicholas?
Because of Nicholas's wife, Margaret. Hare had his eye on her back then, but she didn't care for him and he was fuming. Well, and after he disappeared, Nicholas got his post.
Where did he run to?
No one really knows. They say he's hiding in secret tunnels beneath the castle, but that's all fairy tales. It's been years. As I see it, he's underground all right, 6 feet down and cold.
I want to ask about something else. Thanks. That's all I need to know.
God be with you.
What have we here?
God be with you.
I've been hearing some quite wild stories about Hare.
People do prattle on. It happened a long time ago, and I've heard some crazy tales myself.
And what's your version of what happened?
Hare was a stuck-up knob. He came here with nothing to show but his bare arse. But he thought he could have anything he pointed at. All because he was of noble stock.
Whatever became of him?
Oh, you must have heard. He killed one of the armed men that served Sir Henry of Lipa, and they sentenced him to hang. Except he scapered right out of the castle dungeon.
How did he manage that?
Nobody knows, but I'll bet he had help from someone up at the castle.
And what was your wife's role in all this?
He had his eye on her, and she didn't want him. That's all. And it had nothing to do with what happened later.
That's all I need. Thanks.
Take care.
Greetings. How may I help you?
I'd like to ask you about Hannikin Hare.
I'm sorry, but I really don't want to talk about that.
The thing is, every time I spoke to someone about Hare, they always ended up talking about you.
But I don't.
You aren't to blame for anything, is that it? Well, I am willing to believe you, but you do know more than you're telling, and I need to hear it.
I'm not saying a word, you rat. It's none of your bloody business.
Just calm down. That'll do me. I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
If you ask me, there's some questions best left unanswered. But go and see Elena if you're determined. That old gossip will tell you all there is to know. Goodbye.
God be with you. What would you like?
I heard there are poachers in the woods round here.
If only if it was just poachers. It's that sorcerer Hare. He's the one who's been running amok. I said he'd be back, and I said he'd be vengeful, and I was right both times.
Tell me something about Hannikin Hare.
Ah, that was all years ago. He turned up here one day. No one rightly knew where from. He claimed up at the castle to be a nobleman's son, and so he got the office of Master Huntsman, and Margaret was promised him for his wife. Nobody could have known he was a sorcerer.
And how did his sorcery reveal itself?
Well, he was able to vanish into thin air in the forest right in front of folk. And I've heard it said he spoke to animals, too. Though I don't know the truth of it.
Well, doesn't sound very convincing to me.
That's because you've not seen his marksmanship. It was natural, the things he could do with that bow of his. They say he sold his soul for the gift of it.
I see. How did it go with Margaret?
I'm not one to gossip, but she was a flighty lass in her younger years. She could never make up her mind which one she wanted, the hair or Nicholas. So in the end, fate decided for her.
What do you mean? What happened with hair?
Oh, that was quite something. And then some on top of it. Sir Henry of Lipo was visiting here at the castle, and Hare snapped his guardsman's neck with his bare hands. Of course, they found him out. But how do you keep a sorcerer under lock and key? You can't. That's your answer. And that Satan's spawn slipped the net.
Oh well, quite a wild story. Any idea why he murdered the man?
No one knows, and most likely never will. But they say he was fully in the devil's power. There was a full moon, you see.
Was he actually seen killing the guardsman?
I suppose so. Else they'd hardly know who did it, would they?
That's probably true. There is one other thing I want to ask. Tell me something about Hannikin Hare.
Ah, that was all years ago. He turned up, he claimed up.
There is one other thing I want to ask. Has anyone actually seen this Hannikin Hare? He seems to exist only as a bogeyman to frighten naughty children.
Oh, he exists all right. But he flits around in the forest like a shadow. They won't be catching him anytime soon. But Blacksmith's Betty heard some of their goings-on in the woods.
Goings-on? What's that supposed to mean?
Cavorting and raising hell. Sorcery! Hare meets up with his sorcerer's apprentices, and they feast in the clearing in the woods. In the morning, they turn into ravens and scatter. Or so she says. But you'll have to ask Betty for more. Who knows what she saw? Or what she was doing there with them.
Very well. I'll ask. Who does Hare want revenge on?
Master Huntsman Nicholas, of course. When the hare disappeared, Nicholas took his Margaret and the huntsman's posting.
So Nicholas came out of it well?
That one always knew how to land on his feet.
Thanks. I think I know all I need.
Goodbye.
Ah! Are you... Ugh! What's what you're doing? There's people...
God be with you. What would you like?
I've got a few questions about these poachers.
So ask.
I heard you saw something fishy in the forest.
That's right, I did.
Can you describe what you saw?
It was after dark, I remember that. I went up past the castle along by the clearing, and I saw someone had lit a fire,
and there were figures singing and dancing, and I could hear the whistling of a pipe. And I could smell roast meat. It was like a feast of some sort. Only I thought maybe it was some witch's Sabbath, so I was afraid to stay too long in case they saw me.
Did you recognize anyone there? Someone from the village, maybe?
No. Like I said, it was dark. All I could see was shadowy figures moving around.
Did you hear any familiar voices?
No. But I heard girls' laughter, goblets clinking, a piper playing. It sounded just like any feast.
Where is the clearing?
A short walk north of the castle. There's a track past the woodcutter's camp that takes you there.
Thanks. What do you make of this poaching that's been going on?
It's clear as day. Hannikin Hare's back. And putting those antlers on Nicholas's house? Well, we all know what that means, don't we? It's the sign of a cuckold, you mark my words.
You mean to say his wife's cheating on him?
All I'm saying is she might be feeling the urge. It happens in the best of families.
Well, you're the first who's certain of Hare's return. So far, I've just heard vague rumors.
Well, now, I wouldn't say I'm completely sure. I suppose some other mischief maker could have done it, but better the devil you know, and everyone hereabouts knows Hare.
You were singing a different song not long ago.
So? Why do you want to know so much, anyway?
It's nothing to you, but I'm helping Nicholas unmask that local poaching gang.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, now you know. And you also know not to keep anything from me. So, what's the story with that Hare?
I don't know what you're up to, but I'll have nothing to do with it. Nobody likes a sniffing snout, and I don't want to be taken for a gossip.
It's not like people don't take you for one already.
What? How dare you? I've never been so insulted.
Goodbye.
I've got a few questions about these poachers.
So ask.
What do you make of this poaching that's been going on?
It's clear as day.
So what's the story between Hare and Margaret?
It was complicated. He wanted her and she wanted him too, I reckon. At least for a while. But then she hitched up with Nicholas and now she says she never had a thought of wedding Hannikin Hare.
So what went on between Hare and the huntsman?
Those two? There was no love lost between them from the moment Hare arrived. And then Margaret got involved. It was a messy business.
Do you think Hare really killed that man?
Who knows the truth of it now? I did find it all a bit odd. Hare never was much of a hothead. But then again, no one really knew him that well. And Margaret never wanted to speak of it. Wouldn't hear a word about it.
Who's this Hannikin Hare, anyway?
Hannikin Hare? There was a time he was master huntsman here, and Margaret was set to be his wife. But then he got himself accused of murder, and fled before they could hang him. Margaret and his job both ended up going to Nicholas.
Well, you're the first who's certain of Hare's return. So far, I've just heard vague rumors.
Well, now, I wouldn't say I'm completely sure. I suppose some other mischief maker could have done it, but better the devil you know, and everyone hereabouts knows Hare.
Stop trying to wriggle out of it. Do you realise who I am?
Not really.
But you know who 𝔎𝔦𝔫𝔤𝔬𝔪 is, right?
Of course.
I'm his right-hand man, and I'm helping the huntsman catch the poachers. So, I'm not someone you should be messing around.
All right, I'll tell you what I know. But promise not to tell Nicholas I said it.
I'll do what I can, but I need to let him know what I discover. So, out with it.
It's to do with Margaret, his wife. They say it's all because of her.
Keep going.
I know full well Hare's here, because Margaret admitted as much.
What did she tell you?
That he waited in the woods till she came by and they exchanged some words. Words was all she told me. Who knows what they actually got up to.
And what did they speak about?
I don't know. But if Nicholas knew they'd met, he'd most likely kill her.
You're sure she wasn't saying it in jest?
Oh no. Margaret wouldn't joke about something like that.
That's all I need. Thanks.
God bless.
Look out.
I'd like to ask you about Hannikin Hare.
I'm sorry, but I really don't want to talk about that.
Listen, I know the Hare is here, and I know you spoke with him. And if you don't want your husband to find out, you better start talking.
Wait! You can't say something like that to Nicholas. God knows what he'd do.
It's in your hands whether I tell him or not.
All right, all right. What do you want to know?
How were things between you and Hare back then?
There was nothing between us. Hannikin Hare impressed my father with all his talk of noble blood. But I couldn't stand him, and I didn't want to marry him. And then it made no odds after he ran away.
So you didn't want to? I only asked because I've heard differently.
That's village talk. Of course folk gossip. Mostly they just want to hurt Nicholas.
Did Hare really commit the murder?
God in heaven, how should I know? Anyway, it doesn't matter now.
That remains to be seen. What did you talk about in the woods with Hannikin Hare?
I see Betty's mouth's been busy.
Don't blame her. I had to work hard to weasel it out of her. Now tell me.
Oh, all right. Well, it seems Hannikin Hare's exile has addled his brain. He told me he'd go off with me, that he still loves me and nonsense like that.
And what about you?
What do you mean? I was so shocked, I couldn't even scream.
Is that all he told you?
He said if I change my mind, I'm to hang a garland of forget-me-nots on the house and wait for him at that place of ours.
Where was it you saw him exactly?
I wish I could tell you. The whole thing was like a fever dream. I almost got lost trying to get out of the forest. Even if I remembered, it wouldn't be any use to you. Hannikin Hare moves through the forest like a ghost. He knows every tree root off by heart.
I want you to hang that garland on the lodge.
But I don't want to go anywhere with him.
You don't have to go anywhere. But tell me, where's that secret meeting place of yours?
On the way to Ujits. Back then, we used to meet by the great big beech tree, right next to the wayside shrine. There's a lovely view there, you see.
And what time will he be waiting there for you?
At dawn. What are you going to do to Hare?
Never you mind. The main thing is it will all get sorted out. And that's all that matters, isn't it?
I suppose so. Very well, then. I'll hang the garland for you.
That'll be everything.
God bless. I already heard. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good day to you. What do you need?
I hear there's been trouble with poachers recently.
I don't have time to talk to strangers. Good day to you. May the Lord watch over you.
Well, no. A fine day to you.
I'm here to find out about the poachers gang, and I need to ask a few questions.
Well, ask away. I don't have all day.
I heard you were yelling in the tavern that you were off to hunt some venison.
Look here. I don't know who you are, but you should watch your mouth.
I will, don't you worry. So what happened then?
What? Nothing. It was just the beer talking. I got pissed and started spouting shit. Didn't mean a word of it.
Blacksmith Betty saw people feasting in the woods, and she says there was a nice smell of venison. What do you know about it?
Nothing. I wasn't there.
And I don't suppose you'll tell me who was?
No, because I wasn't there.
That'll do me.
Good luck to you.
Jesus Christ, your clothes! Were you assaulted? Damn bandits, may they burn in hell.
Would you teach me something about medicinal herbs?
Certainly.
I'm interested in more advanced techniques.
All right, but it'll cost you.
Isn't that quite a lot? Since it's you.
You won't convince me with that. Agreed. Now, listen up. Goodbye.
Would you teach me something about medicinal herbs?
Certainly.
I'd like to hone my skills.
First, you have to have some skills to hone.
Well, I'll think it over.
Take care.
I'd like to discuss the price.
Well, we can try it.
Agree?
You're a right pinch purse. See now, I knew we'd come to an agreement.
My respects to you.
Is there somewhere I could sleep here?
Well, I suppose I could find something. For how long?
Just the one night?
Sure. Let's see your coin first. These are harsh times.
Here you are.
You like it here? Like sleeping on a cloud it is.
I've heard Tom of the Baths was mouthing off in here.
So he did. He and Jack Piper were bragging about how they'd make a feast for the village lasses, that there'd be venison roast and enough beer to fill a river. And a few days later, they did come and buy a few kegs of beer from me.
Did they have anything else to say?
Not really. I told him to shut up, or someone would hear him and there'd be trouble.
And what did he say to that?
Nothing. He had more booze in him than the castle cellar. He just hiccuped and slid under the table. Piper took him off after that, thank God.
Do you suppose he meant it?
Hardly. He's nothing but a braggart.
All right. I'd best ask him myself.
Well, feel free to ask, but don't believe half what he says.
And who is this Jake Piper?
Oh, he's Tom's best mate. A decent fellow. They call him the Piper because everywhere he goes, he's whistling on that pipe of his.
Where can I find him?
Well, most likely in the quarry. He lends a hand there to make ends meet.
Folk were talking about Hannikin hair.
Oh, good Lord. People do like to prattle on. Don't you go believing a word they say. It's the back of beyond here, and they'll tell any tale to spice things up a bit.
Do you think Nicholas isn't doing enough?
A master huntsman who lets poachers run wild through his woods? He's useless. He couldn't even stop them hanging a stag's head on his own house.
Right. Thank you, innkeeper. I'll be going.
God be with you.
You